It's me again. This time we're going to talk about visitor logs, expense logs, and uirs. Visitor logs. Recently, you probably received an email. You actually probably received 3 emails regarding visitor logs. These were generated by ECA, and they were again then dispersed by us after that to ensure that no foster parent was missed. This was a result of a terrible accident where a child was in Hillsborough, was taken from a foster home and taken to a visitation. And the transporter did not fill out the visitor log. So that was found upon discovery after the fact. The child wasn't brought home. The child was actually brought to another residence by accident and dropped off at a stranger's house. So we had a missing child and a visitor log that was not completed. So that worker was relieved of their duties. The child was safe and was safely returned. The foster parent did her job. When the child didn't come home on time, she called ECA on call and asked them where the child was, that she hadn't been returned when she was supposed to be returned. So it wasn't the foster parent made a mistake or wasn't tracking their child, but the form wasn't completed. This form was enacted many, many years ago following the Riley Wilson Act, and it was for the same reason. For those of you who remember what happened to Riley Wilson, she was killed, but her grandmother had stated that a transporter had picked her up from her house and taken her away, and she didn't know where she was. So this visitor log, became very critical. And it's always been a critical doc, but what we see is we're starting to come away from it. So it's very important that anybody who comes to your home to see that child, any worker, any transporter, anybody known to you or unknown to you needs to be filling out the form. These professionals have been re-educated. They know they're to fill out the form. If they refuse to fill out the form, please note on the form that somebody was there and refused to sign it, because I know occasionally we have officers and things like that say, that's not for me, I don't have to sign it. Well, then write down, Officer Smith from blank PD was here, did not sign the form. But we can't cross-educate everybody, but we can be aware of what's happening with our children. So we need to sign those forms. Those forms need to be signed, they need to be completed, and they need to be turned back into us. Please remember, every month I need your med logs, I need your fire drills, I need your visitor logs, I need your expense logs. I also need a copy of any grade cards that were administered that medication that month, and any other doctor's appointments or anything else. A copy of all those for the child's permanent file. So every month you need to be sending those up to us. If nobody visited, then nobody visited, but we still need to keep the record. It's very critical. Anytime somebody comes to pick up this child and you are not familiar with that person, you need to ask them for their credentials. If they refuse to give you their credentials, you refuse to give them the child. Call us and we will go through another route to verify they were there to pick up the child, and then they will be re-educated regarding the need to bring their credentials. Okay, so do not release your children to anybody else. I realize that there's some holes in that passage, because sometimes kids are being picked up from daycare and things like that, where there is a different process in place. But for you, and to protect your home, every month you complete the visitor log, turn it in. Okay? So if you have any questions on that, make sure you reach out to us. In addition to that, expense logs. These are something upon a recent audit we took a deeper look at, and we're going to be adjusting the expense logs. I don't see major changes happening, but I do want to add some clarity. I want to improve on those forms a little bit. Some errors that we noticed that were happening, and it's really important that they're just bad habits, and it's not one home, it was multiple homes, and we really weren't watching them that carefully, and we need to get better at it. We have, unfortunately, industry personnel who like to come in and look at those records, and they say, I've seen Johnny 3 times, and all 3 times he was wearing the same shirt. I don't think that foster parent's buying him clothes. We need to be able to pull up that expense log and go, I disagree. Here's the forms, this is what's showing what's happening, this is how it's happening. I wish people didn't do that. I wish there weren't reasons that people were being critical instead of embracing you guys for the great work you do, but it happens. And I want to be best able to help and support you and prepare you. If that's Johnny's favorite shirt, that's why Johnny's wearing it 3 times, not because he doesn't have other choices. Or maybe it's his favorite shirt, so he's got 6 of them. That's okay too. If he really likes that shirt, and that makes him feel safe. But let me fight that battle. And the only way I can fight that battle is to have the form and have it completed. Some of the mistakes that I was seeing as I went through this auditing process are things like maybe you listed the month and not the dates. So like the date column was just left empty. So there's a list. We went to Walmart, we went to the movies, we went to Disney, we went to a restaurant, and we went to the fair. But there's no dates. So make sure we're filling out the date column. Another mistake I saw were people listing perhaps maybe store visits or things like that. We went to the fair, but didn't list out like it was what did you purchase at the fair, or harder to discern are going to be things like Walmart. You know that some items are not considered child items; they wouldn't be counted for the child's allowance. So if you bought pork chops, that wouldn't be considered for the child's allowance. And so, but if you bought a special bag of candy that they really wanted, then that could be considered towards their allowance. So if it just says Walmart, but doesn't tell me that you bought the child sneakers or bought him jeans or bought him a particular thing, that leaves the reader to go, how do I know what they purchased? Okay, so help us clarify that by writing down what did you purchase for that child. Remember, every month the child has a certain amount of allowance. That's money that's expected to be spent on the child for items that they want. Some of you are giving them cash money. That's perfectly fine. Have them sign that they've received those dollars and they can spend them the way they want. Some of you have children who are delayed or too young to be spending the money or have cash on hand, or possibly you don't want them to have cash on hand because of the poor choice making. That's okay too. But you need to still spend those monies on the child. So if you bought them a teddy bear, if you bought them a special game, if you bought them something, recording what you bought for them. Ideally, have them sign it, that they've received those items, but at least recording what it is that you've purchased for the child so that we can evidence that. Okay, so we're going to be making some minor modifications to that. Looked for those. They're not completed yet, but when they do, they'll be coming out with the child foster home development specialist. We'll start using the new forms, not the old ones. I don't see any major changes, but I do see, I just really want you guys to be careful and attentive. Are you signing your forms? Are you not signing your forms? Making sure that they're coming in every month, that kind of stuff. Fire drills, remember we need to do those every month and upon the new entry of any child. So anytime a new child came into the home, you're going to do a fire drill. Okay. And last but not least are the UIRs. Please remember, unusual incident reports are critical documents. I have to get that information right away. Far too often I'm getting called by ECA or DCF asking for information before I'm even aware of an incident. So you must call me right away, or call the on-call staff, or call your foster home development specialist, call your case manager, but let them know right away. I don't expect you to write that UIR form while you're at the hospital with a kid, but I do need to get that preliminary information, and I need you to write it that night. I need to get those information in right away. Critical incidents, which are most of the incidents, unfortunately, have to be reported within 24 hours. That's 24 hours to DCF. That means it has to come from you. It has to get to my staff member who's screening it for you. It then comes to me. It gets reviewed. If there's any more information that I need to fill it out completely, then we need to contact you. Being completed, sent to ECA, and then sent to DCF, all within 24 hours. So if I'm not getting it until the 23rd hour, that's making it really hard for the rest of us. So please be aware of that. You may not think of it to be an emergency. Many of them, thank goodness, the majority of them are not emergencies. Took the kid to the hospital. He had the flu. They didn't even give us anything. No emergency. I get it. The state doesn't see it that way. If they went to the emergency room, it was an emergency, even though they are fine. Still, forms have to come in. Some of these forms aren't getting to me for 2 or 3 weeks, and this is a problem. And it's a problem I have to deal with. So please be aware that the state doesn't care what the outcomes are. They care that an incident took place, and we have to fill out the forms, and we have to get them right away. You can email them to us. You can fax them to us. You can hand deliver them, but please make sure that those UIRs are coming in on time and are complete. Take another look at them. Okay? Does it have the child's name on it? If it says the doctor gave him medication, does it tell me what medication he gave him? Does it tell me when it's supposed to be taken? Does it tell me what hospital or emergency room they were taken to? If they fell in the park and broke their leg, what park were they in? What leg did they break? So what were the treatment follow-ups or recommendations? So it doesn't have to be super lengthy. It does have to be complete and detailed. So please be sure to do that, because when I get it, I got to follow up. So thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this, and thank you for what you do. I know we hate to feel like, oh my goodness, I'm being lectured to. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm trying to help you to protect your home, to be the best that you can do, to take an inventory, and so that we can work together as teammates to help serve these kids. You guys are absolutely awesome. You do what so few will do. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you. You are amazing, and I couldn't be prouder of you. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and have a great day.